Claudia Pescuta, KNX 1070 News Radio.
UCLA researchers may have found a way to increase vaccination rates.
A simple text reminder with a link to make an appointment. Easy peasy.
Those reminders all tend to make people remember the of getting the vaccine, as well as give them easy access to scheduling.
Study co-author Hen-Chen Dai tells KNX they studied unvaccinated UCLA health patients and sent different groups different types of text messages, or none at all. She says the personalized text reminder group had an 84% increase in vaccinations over those who didn't get a text.
It's like millions and millions of extra people would get vaccinated if we can push out such type of text reminder at a national scale.
The new study is published in the current issue of the medical journal Nature. Emily Valdez, KNX 1070 News Radio.
Fire crews are on high alert in Southern California. Details 2 minutes after traffic. It's 4:05.
Traffic and weather together every 10 minutes on the 5s. Denise Fondo.
We had a fire today off the 71 northbound in Corona, and the 71 north is still closed at the 91. Also closed the 91 east and westbound connectors to that 71 northbound. So, a lot of pressure on the 91 east and westbound. You've got big delays as you make your way through there this afternoon. On the 10 in Mid-City, westbound side, right at Fairfax, we've got debris reported out in your number 2 lane on the 110 southbound. Just north of Manchester in South LA, we've got another fire reported, and it's LA Fire Department on the way to this one. Brush fire just off the roadway. On the 210, a couple of things happening. Westbound side, east of Citrus in Azusa. We've got a traffic hazard there. It's tire tread out in the carpool lane. And we still have that wreck reported on the 210 eastbound a little bit before Lake. Let's head to Scott Burt. He is over the 405 San Fernando Valley in the Southern California Toyota dealers. Guy 1.
A very hot San Fernando Valley, and it's going to be slow northbound 405, but certainly coming out of the Sepulveda Pass. It does look like it gets slightly better, actually, once you get up right around the 101 freeway, but reduced speeds will continue through the valley. Expect slowing up to about Nordoff, with tougher conditions there off the 118 up toward the 5, Denise.
Next report at 4:15 with more traffic reports more often from the Toyota of Glendora.com Traffic Center, KNX 1070 News Radio.
Yep, Scott said it. Lots of 90s, lots of triple digits in our hottest spots, and it's going to be like this for the next couple of days. High fire danger as well as we move through most of this week. Temps right now, let's go to Santa Clarita, 104, Hollywood 88, Irvine also 88 degrees.
It's 4:07. The prospect of high temperatures throughout Southern California over the next few days has firefighters shifting priorities and tactics to respond to any fires that break out in high-risk brush areas this week.
In Orange County, Fire Authority Captain Greg Barta says given temperature and lack of humidity conditions that are existing, they're now doing far more than just assigning engines and camp crews anytime there's a brush fire reported in their region.
We have a quick reaction force, which is if a fire breaks out, we send a few helicopters all in joint effort to quickly attack a fire to keep it as small as possible.
The air attack is a regional response, which means LA County and Ventura County fire helicopters could respond to the OC or vice versa, with the bottom line to prevent a fire from getting out of control and into a long run of fuel that could take days to put out. Pete Demetrio, KNX 1070 News Radio.
Big wave of cancellations for Spirit Airlines over the last couple of days, including a number of flights out of LAX. Travelers trying to figure out what to do.
The area in front of the Spirit Airlines ticket counter in Terminal 5 was jammed with travelers, some of whom had had their flights scrapped, like an elderly couple from Chino Hills whose vacation to Puerto Vallarta seemed to be in jeopardy. How was this for you?
Oh, terrible.
Their daughter had to come back to LAX to try to help them figure it out.
Especially they're elderly. They can only stand up so long, and they can't be just being, they have to sit down.
She said they tried to reach the airline by phone and over the internet.
And when we call them, they hang up on us, or sorry, their lines are busy.
It wasn't clear at all how it would end, whether they'd managed to take their trip or not. All they could really do, maybe, was to try to keep their spirits up at LAX. John Baird, KNX 1070 News Radio.
Disney is alerting those with annual passes that a replacement program is coming. It's calling it Magic Key. An email went out today with the announcement. The details of the program, like the cost, how it works, will be announced tomorrow. Disney canceled the annual pass program in January, saying it was revamping its admissions policy during the pandemic. Analysts estimate there are about 1 million Disneyland annual pass holders.
Across Southern California, convention business struggling to regain its footing. One local city, it's looking better though.
The first starts in a few days, and between now and the end of this year, the Long Beach Convention Center has over a dozen medium to large conventions, all booked pre-pandemic, conventions that have said they have no plans to cancel.
It'll be about 10,600 attendees. That's only in August. Through the end of the year, we've got 74,300 visitors for all those 14 conventions.
Samantha Mellinger, she is the communications director for the Long Beach Convention and Visitors Bureau, and she's telling KNX that these conventions are expected to bring roughly $47.8 million to Long Beach, money that will be spent locally at hotels and at restaurants. Craig Figner, KNX 1070 News Radio.
The Delta variant could slow down rehiring efforts, and that could mean a rough ride for all of us, employed or not. We'll get personal with finance at 4:15 today. Stick around. And our eye in the sky is up, and we'll be over the 101 Hollywood Freeway when we check those tough drives again in less than 4 minutes. Right now, it's 4:11.
At K-12, I'm one of a million students
who've chosen public school at home,
where I get the personalized attention I deserve
and can learn in a place that works for me.
At my own pace.
Here, I'm someone.
And I can become anyone.
Whether I'm facing a challenge
or want to be challenged.
My school meets me where I am and helps me get where I want to be.
I'm one. Are you one too?
Full-time, tuition-free schools. They may not be for everyone, but they're here for anyone.
Education for anyone.
Music trivia. 1959, Puppy Love was released as a single from a very new, very young artist, Dolly Parton. The song wasn't a hit for her. In fact, it didn't even chart. It did, however, become a hit for Donny Osmond years later. When the song was released, how old was Parton at the time? The future Queen of Country was only 13 at the time. She recorded the song when she was only 11 years old.
Hey, son. How are you feeling?
I'm fine, Pops.
What's on your mind?
I can't explain it.
When your kid can't find the language, find the lyrics. Start a conversation at sounditouttogether.org. Brought to you by Ad Council and Pivotal Ventures.
Artist profile. Dylan Scott. Dylan Scott was born in October of 1990 in Louisiana. His debut single, Making This Boy Go Crazy, was released in June of 2013, charting on the Billboard Country Airplay charts for 10 weeks. It and its follow-up single both garnered positive reviews. They were included on a 2014 EP, which peaked at 50 on the Top Country Albums charts. His debut solo self-titled album was released in 2016, peaking at number 5 on that same chart.
This week in music, a new documentary titled Becoming Led Zeppelin has been completed. It traces the journeys of the four members through the music scene of the 1960s and culminates in the 70s when their second album knocks the Beatles off the top of the charts. No release date has yet been revealed. And Steely Dan have announced an upcoming series of U.S. shows that will kick off in Miami this October. It'll also be the time they release their first live album in 25 years, Northeast Corridor, Steely Dan Live. For all the classic hits, it's Odyssey.com.
With a Walmart Plus membership, you can get fresh groceries delivered free the same day. Because planning family dinners is so simple, said no parent ever. You've got one kid who's a vegan today, another who only eats dinosaur-shaped nuggets. You've got soccer practices and flugelhorn practices. You've got enough on your plate. Walmart Plus has you covered. Get fresh groceries and more at the low prices you love with free same-day delivery. Walmart Plus. Start your free trial today. $35 order minimum. Restrictions apply. See membership details.
180 over 111, and I had a stroke. I couldn't speak or walk.
This is high blood pressure. Get back on your plan. Go to loweryourhbp.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association, American Medical Association, and the Ad Council.
My mother was very familiar with her neighborhood, but one day she stopped at the stop sign, and she wasn't even really sure where she was at.
When something feels different, it could be Alzheimer's. Now is the time to talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Dance like a dad. It's a great way to make a moment with your kids.
First, I hold my hands out like they're on a steering wheel. Then I look over my shoulder. Next, I put it in reverse.
Visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
180 over 111, and I had a stroke. I couldn't speak or walk.
This is high blood pressure. Get back on your plan. Go to loweryourhbp.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association, American Medical Association, and the Ad Council.
Around the clock, the News Watch never stops.
Southern California's only 24-hour local news and traffic station.
KNX 1070 News Radio. Depend on us.
I'm Mike Simpson.
And I'm Karen Adams. Coming up,
Another bank dumps its overdraft fees. We get personal with finance in just a couple of minutes.
we'll go to Tokyo for an Olympics update in 7 minutes.
Big hospital chain issues a vaccine mandate for workers. It's all in the next 15 minutes. Right now, 4:15, traffic every 10 minutes on the 5s. And here's Denise Fondo.
We've got a SIG alert because of an earlier brush fire. 71 northbound closed at the 91. Also closed the 91 east and west to that 71 northbound. It looks like we're going to be maybe another 2 hours on this SIG alert. We'll see what kind of work they get done there. But right now it looks like another 2 hours. Big delays, 91 east and westbound, of course, as you make your way over toward that 71. We're going to head to Scott. He's over the Hollywood Freeway, the 101 in the Southern California Toyota dealer, Sky One.
Start off with the ride downtown here, 101 northbound, slowing up just about to 10. That stays heavy up to the 4-level interchange. Improves and gets slow again in Hollywood, right at Santa Monica Boulevard. Heading up toward Universal City through the Cahuenga Pass, 101 southbound, sluggish right at Santa Monica Boulevard, heading down toward the 4-level interchange, Denise.
We've got a new problem reported on the 101 eastbound, and this is a little bit before Chesborough Road in Agora Hills. Two-car wreck reported in the center divider. On the 60 eastbound, just past Indiana Street, we've got a new crash there. Two-car wreck, that is right shoulder of the road. And in West LA, there's a wreck on the 405 southbound a little bit before you reach the 10. Next report at 4:25 with more traffic reports and more often from the Toyota of Glendora.com Traffic Center. KNX 1070 News Radio.
Going to keep the temps like this at least for the next few days, so high fire danger as well. 70s, 80s, 90s, and up to the triple digits in our hottest spots. 417.
I need a dollar, that's what I need.
Monday afternoon, personal finance, how to keep your money, how to get more of it, how to enjoy it. And with us, Bloomberg financial reporter Vinny Del Giudice.
Vinny, good afternoon. Thanks for joining us. People have been dinged by those annoying overdraft fees for a long time, but another bank is giving them up.
This is a credit union, Alliant. It's based out of Chicago, but it's nationwide and online. It's eliminating overdraft fees and non-sufficient fund fees on all checking and savings account. That's what it announced today. Now, of course, it's not a license to bounce checks, but what they're trying to do is help consumers, help their members. Credit unions are member organizations. When you deposit money in there, you have a share in the organization, so it's a cooperative. Again, the idea is to help people in general, but with COVID-19, the resurgence of the Delta virus, all these types of things, it's designed to help.
Are some other institutions thinking about doing this? A couple bigger ones have done it. Obviously, there's the criticism that this hurts people who are the most vulnerable, or it hurts people because the banks are just way overzealous at dinging people for it. But if I am seeing it now as like a competition type thing, well, then am I going to give up my fees too because the other guys have?
Other people have been cutting them, and Alliant, A-L-L-I-A-N-T, is large, and very simply, yes, it could pave the way. An interesting thing about this, just a footnote, I checked about it. Where did it start and everything? This company goes back to the 1930s. It used to be the United Airlines Credit Union. So you see a lot of credit unions that were telephone company credit unions, what have you, starting real small potatoes way back when, are now big and very influential. And yes, this could get the ball rolling.
And I'm curious, will this be long-term, or is this just to get us through the pandemic?
From reading the announcement, it looks like it's long-term. It's certainly going to help now, but generally speaking, making ends meet, a household, if you have a family, if you don't have a family, little things like this do help, because most people are simply not intentional check bouncers or write rubber checks. It's just, a snafu here, a snafu there. So this is aimed at helping people over that. Again, it's certainly not a license to write bad checks or anything like that.
All right, Delta variant. We're talking about all the surging of cases across the country. How is that affecting hiring, labor market?
Well, there's some worries on Wall Street that it could slow the economy. We saw the Dow and the S&P down today. The NASDAQ little changed. Right now, the labor market looks okay. Friday, we get the monthly employment report. We could see another gain of close to 1 million jobs. We could see the unemployment rate dip 2 notches to 5.7%. But we're not out of the woods yet. Before the pandemic, we were at 3%. The economy's lost a considerable number of jobs. The question is, where are all the people? Are they retired? How many of them are ill and are not coming back or have just decided to go back to school or try something else? There are 9 million job openings nationwide, so that's a plus. But the question is, how do you make this fit? How do you find the qualified workers? If you're in Peoria, Illinois, and there's all kinds of jobs over there, but you're maybe in some other part of the country and it isn't, how does it all balance out? Generally speaking, for now, the labor market is holding its own. The Delta variant is a wild card. It's very severe, but as the White House announced today, about 70% of the country is vaccinated. Again, it's a wild card. Lindsey Graham, the senator from South Carolina, for example, he was vaccinated, but he announced today he's got the virus. So.
Okay, so the Federal Reserve says we have a long way to go in the labor market, and we have all these job openings. What's going on? What's the contradiction in this?
That's a very good question. As I noted before, it could be some people are holding out because they have extended benefits. And that's what I think a lot of politicians would want you to believe for whatever their agenda is. You have to look at other things. How many people were sick and are going to stay out for a long time or maybe permanently? We had, 500,000 or more deaths. So there's a lot of sick people that haven't died that are incapacitated. You've got a lot of people that lost jobs and sadly wound up homeless and this type of thing. And they're not necessarily in the best shape to start looking for a job if they're just scraping by and living on the street. Again, you have baby boomers perhaps saying, look, it's time to retire. Let's do it early. And in some cases, you hear from businesses, especially low-wage businesses, say they see more and more of their former employees going back to school. So all these things are playing into it. I would not buy into this scenario that it's freeloafers. Is that right, Freddie? The freeloafers out there. It's just a variety of things are playing out. It's very been painful, and in my opinion, this is a personal opinion. It's not right to paint it on, make it look like it's a bunch of freeloaders. There's a lot of pain and agony out there from extended illnesses, family problems, and again, this homeless issue. I mean, if you're homeless, how do you look for work? How do you present yourself? Very difficult.
Bloomberg financial reporter Vinny Del Giudice. Vinny, thanks. Personal Finance, this time 4:15 each Monday afternoon. Tomorrow, it's some tips from Consumer Reports and reminders. We are getting answers to more of your COVID questions on Thursday afternoons. Corona questions at knx1070.com, so you can send those to us. Olympics update, 90 seconds away, 4:22.
When you see smoke on the horizon.
Just getting information on a major fire.
When you hear sirens in the distance.
Police just releasing this video.
When you see nothing but red taillights ahead.
Southbound 55, bumper to bumper at Newport Boulevard.
When you need to know now.
The time to listen is now.
KNX 1070 News Radio. Depend on us every day.
Music trivia. At age 47, Rolling Stones bassist Bill Wyman started a relationship with 13-year-old Mandy Smith with her mother's consent, who he eventually married and divorced a year later. Shortly thereafter, Bill's son Stephen married Mandy's mother, which made him the stepfather of his former stepmother. If Bill and Mandy remained married, Stephen would have been what? Stephen would have been his father's father-in-law and somehow his own legal grandfather. The greatest albums of all time. Dusty Springfield, Dusty in Memphis. Released in January of 1969, Dusty in Memphis is the 5th studio album from Dusty Springfield. It was meant to reinvigorate her career, being that she never released an album entirely composed of R&B songs before. Despite containing one of her biggest songs, Son of a Preacher Man, the album sold poorly on its first release. The album has since been acclaimed as her best work and is considered one of the greatest records of all time.
My mother was very familiar with her neighborhood, but one day she stopped at the stop sign and she wasn't even really sure where she was at.
When something feels different, it could be Alzheimer's. Now is the time to talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Our eye in the sky will be over the 5 between Boyle Heights and Buena Park when we check the roads again in a minute. It's 4:24.
And time for another Olympics update brought to you by bidlane.com. Simone competes again a little bit before 2 tomorrow morning, our time.
Tokyo is gearing up for its last night of gymnastics competition, and with it, the return of Simone Biles. Biles pulled out of the individual all-around as well as the uneven bars, floor exercise, and vault competitions, but she will be back to compete in the balance beam, and teammate Jade Carey can't wait to see her performance.
Having Simone being back tomorrow is great. I'm really proud of her. She's been through a lot this Olympics, so it's going to be great to see her out there tomorrow.
Carey took gold in the floor exercise. She'll watch Biles compete alongside individual all-around gold medalist Suni Lee on the beam. Here's an updated look at the medal count going into tonight. The United States holds a slim edge over China in the overall count. The U.S. has 64 medals compared to China's 62. The ROC is third with 50. In terms of golds, China has the edge on the field with 29. The U.S. has 22 gold medals, and Japan is third with 17. With this Summer Games update, I'm Ryan Radke, Westwood One Sports.
Updates on the latest from the Olympics presented by bidlane.com, 22 past each hour.
The nation's largest nonprofit health provider now has a COVID vaccine mandate. Details at the bottom of the hour. It's 4:25.
Traffic now brought to you by Bear Windows and Doors. Here's Denise Fondo.
We still have a SIG alert because of an earlier brush fire. 71 northbound. The closure starts right at the 91. And the southbound lanes are open. 91 east and westbound closed to that 71 northbound. And you've got some delays, of course, on the 91 eastbound and the westbound side because of this. Now, on the 10 westbound east of Temple City, the Rosemead area, we've got a new fire reported just off the freeway lanes. We're going to check in with Scott. He's in the Southern California Toyota dealers Sky One, checking the 5 out of the East LA interchange.
Tough ride here. South 5 right out of the East LA interchange. Stays heavy through the city of Commerce into Downey. It looks like it'll be about Blossom before that'll pick up, but there is some more slowing ahead of that. South 5 little slowing through Carmenita Road as you leave Norwalk. North 5 slow, 91 up to Artesia Boulevard. Some more slowing as you go up through the 605 interchange, Denise.
A new problem reported on the 5 in Orange County northbound side. This is right at Crown Valley. We've got a stall car reported blocking the far right lane. And in Bray on the 57 northbound, just past Tonner Canyon. It looks like CHP's on scene with another stalled car. Bear Windows has the lowest price on quality, energy-efficient windows, period. How? Because they're the manufacturer. 10 windows start at $42.99. Installed. Sliding glass doors, $11.95. Visit bearwindows.com for an unbeatable free quote. Bearwindows.com. Next report, 4:35 with more traffic reports more often from the Toyota of Glendora.com Traffic Center, KNX 1070 News Radio.
Sticking with this kind of heat for at least the next few days.
The Bay Area is bringing back an indoor mask mandate. More in 3 minutes. It's 4:27.
Struggling with hair loss, understandable, not fun. This was not something you envisioned, not part of the grand plan. So you try to ignore it, but, you eventually pass by a mirror, like in your house, so you know what's happening. You wear a lot of hats, you search the internet for solutions. What are you going to do? You're going to get to advanced hair. That's what you're going to do. No lotions and pills and potions. Forget all that. Advanced hair restoration. These guys are going to do something for you that's actually going to work. What a novel concept. Their treatment is for a receding hairline, thinning hair, bald spot, whatever it is. They fix it with the simple one-day treatment. Your hair starts growing back the very next day. It's fast. Their standard of care has always exceeded the CDC guidelines, so now is the time, still is the time, because also you deserve it. You deserve to feel better, more positive, more confident, and right now, $250 off and 250 free hair grafts. Free consultation, 844-333-HAIR. 844-333-HAIR, Beverly Hills, Newport Beach, Ontario, 844-333-HAIR, and advancedhair.com.
Before you sign a lease with just anyone, check out what the nation's premier home leasing company, Invitation Homes, has to offer. A home that's nicer, a process that's easier, a company that's friendlier. Look for the green exclusive banner on invitationhomes.com. Find the perfect home for lease today before it's listed on sites like Zillow or Realtor.com. Invitation Homes. Lease friendlier.
Artist profile. 2 feet. Zachary Bill Dest is better known by his stage name 2 Feet. Around New York City, he started in music by playing in jazz and blues ensembles. After forming 2 Feet, his single Go F Yourself went viral, eventually bringing him to Republic Records, where he was signed. Shortly thereafter, he released his debut EP, and then a second, and then embarked on an extensive tour.
Dance like a dad. It's a great way to make a moment with your kids.
First, I hold my hands out like they're on a steering wheel. Then I look over my shoulder. Next, I put it in reverse.
Visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
180 over 111, and I had a stroke. I couldn't speak or walk.
This is high blood pressure. Get back on your plan. Go to loweryourhbp.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association, American Medical Association, and the Ad Council.
If you came across someone struggling with hunger, how would you recognize them? Would you notice an 8-year-old girl who's not excited for
summer break because she may not be having lunch again until September?
Or a war veteran who's having a hard time landing
a job and getting back on his feet?
I am the 1 in 8 Americans who struggle with hunger. I am hunger in America.
Hunger can be hard to recognize. Learn why at IamHungerInAmerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
This is Southern California's only 24-hour local news and traffic station, KNX 1070 News Radio. I'm Mike Simpson.
And I'm Karen Adams. Our top local story at 4:30. Kaiser Permanente issues a vaccine mandate. All of its employees and doctors must be vaccinated against COVID by September 30th. They are the nation's largest nonprofit healthcare group with 216,000 employees and 23,000 doctors. Right now, 78% of workers and 95% of doctors are fully vaccinated. The healthcare group says it's working with its labor unions on implementing the mandate.
New York City transit workers, Port Authority employees will now need to get vaccinated or get tested on a weekly basis. Governor Cuomo imposing similar requirements on state employees last week, said new vaccination and testing sites will open in September. Also said businesses should switch to vaccine-only admission.
If I go to a bar and I want to have a drink and I want to talk to the person next to me, I want to know that that person is vaccinated. If I go to a restaurant and I'm sitting at a table and the table right next to me, I want to know that they're vaccinated.
Governor Cuomo says he believes it's in the best interest of the businesses and will give an incentive to people to go and get vaccinated.
Indoor mask mandates are coming back in the Bay Area. San Francisco and 6 other counties say people must wear a mask in all indoor settings starting tomorrow. Contra Costa County Health Officer Dr. Chris Farnatano says something had to be done.
The number of patients in local hospitals due to COVID have doubled in just the past 10 days and increased by more than 400% in the month of July.
The order applies to everyone, regardless of vaccine status. Similar mandates are in effect in Sacramento, Yolo, and LA counties.
Officials reporting nearly 2,000 new infections in Orange County. Hospitalizations increasing from 252 Friday to 322 today. Number of patients in intensive care from 59 to 68. Last time Orange County had this many hospitalized COVID patients was March 5th. ICU numbers haven't been this high since mid-March.
Statewide, more than 33,400 people were diagnosed with COVID over the weekend as another 150 people died from the virus. The number of people in the hospital and in ICUs continues to rise with the daily positivity rate now nearing 7%.
72,000 people getting infected with the virus each day in the U.S. It's more than last summer before there were vaccines. But White House coronavirus response coordinator Jeff Zients says more people are starting to roll up those sleeves.
In the last 7 days alone, 3 million Americans have gotten their first shot. That's the highest 7-day total since July 4th. And just today, we hit 70% of adults with at least one shot, including 90% of seniors with at least one shot. And it's very important to note, in the states with the highest case rates, daily vaccination rates have more than doubled.
Hospitalizations and deaths have increased over the past 7 days. Health officials say people who were infected with the original form of COVID have less immunity from the Delta variant.
LA researchers say people hesitant to get vaccinated may be more responsive with a certain type of text message.
The study involved patients at UCLA Health who already had chances to get the vaccine but didn't.
All the text reminders include a direct link to schedule an appointment at UCLA Health. And then we also varied the content of the text reminder in order to see what type of message is more effective.
Hen Chen Dai is a study co-author.
On top of that, we find that a certain language is more motivating. Specifically, when we tell people the vaccine has just been made available to you and claim your dose.
The study is in the new issue of the journal Nature. Emily Valdez, KNX 1070 News Radio.
If you live near the Queen Mary, might feel like there's more activity starting next month.
Before the crush of the pandemic hit Southern California, conventions in the city of Long Beach were $1 billion business. More than that, in fact. Then the virus ground all that to a halt.
Pre-pandemic generated about $1.8 billion in economic impact to the city.
That is the communications director for the Long Beach Convention and Visitors Bureau, Samantha Mellinger, and she tells KNX that between now and late December, there are 14 conventions that'll be coming to Long Beach.
We're looking at 48.7 million with people staying at local hotels, at restaurants, shopping.
They're expecting over 74,000 convention goers by December, with 10,000 alone this August. Craig Figner, KNX 1070 News Radio.
Some airlines are having trouble getting off the ground. We'll have the details coming up in 2 minutes after traffic. It's 4:35.
Traffic and weather together have read 10 minutes on the 5s. And here's Denise Fondo.
Got a closure on the 71 most of the afternoon. Let's go to Scotty's overhead in the Southern California Toyota dealers. Sky One.
Yeah, had about a 15 or 20 acre brush fire here that burned off the 71 north of the 91 on the east side of the 71 hillside here. They're still mopping up, not any visible flame at this point, but the northbound 71 is shut down from the 91 heading up to Euclid. Southbound is open. They have the connectors from the 91 to the 71 shut down, so you won't be able to even access this northbound 71. And kind of getting your attention south 71 with all the fire department activity. That's going to be heavy through Euclid. 91 eastbound, that's fairly typical, but it is going to be sluggish starting right around the Weir Canyon truck scales heading out through the 241, Denise.
We've got a new problem reported on the 110. 110 northbound, just south of the 101 at the 4 level. Hit and run crash reported there at 605 northbound, a little shy of Firestone Boulevard. Debris reported. That's in the left lane, so we'll see a break in traffic for that. On the 5 northbound, right at the 110 in the Elysian Park area. New problem. This time it's a ladder, and it's reported out in the far right lane. Next report at 4:45 with more traffic reports more often from the Toyota of Glendora.com Traffic Center. KNX 1070 News Radio.
Hot forecasts. Let's get more from Weather Channel meteorologist Mark Thibodeau.
Going to be roasting hot for another 24 hours across the inland areas here. We've got a heat advisory for the Inland Empire, eastern LA County, down into Orange County, back up into inland Ventura counties. In these areas, places like Palmdale, east of Anaheim, east of Burbank, and maybe Burbank as well. 105 to 107 perhaps. Really hot conditions. Meantime, from downtown LA to the coast, it's a little more tolerable with highs in the 80s, even the 70s at the coast. But inland, beware another 24 hours of possible heat exhaustion and the potential here for some very hot weather. Stay hydrated too. Things improving a little bit by midweek.
And right now, 103 in Van Nuys, Long Beach, 88, Fullerton, 94.
It's 4:37. Some Spirit airline passengers say their flights out of LAX have been canceled and they're not sure when they'll actually get on a plane. Spirit had to cancel hundreds of flights both yesterday and today, blaming it on weather and operational challenges.
Some of the canceled flights left people hanging inside Terminal 5 at LAX, wondering what to do next. One couple was trying to fly home to Cleveland, although everything was sort of up in the air at that point.
We were in the airport waiting, and then all of a sudden we got notification it got canceled. So they booked us another flight on a Delta line to try to get us home for today, but then they canceled that on us. Yeah, we're trying to find any way home at this point, and I got to get back to work.
According to one report, Spirit had canceled nearly a third of its flights by midday today. At times, the airlines overall have been struggling to keep up with all the demand, and there have been thousands of delayed flights on a daily basis for several weeks, including flights on American and Southwest. At LAX, John Baird, KNX 1070 News Radio.
Biden administration has allowed the federal moratorium on evictions to expire. Now millions of tenants who can't pay their rent could be at risk of losing their homes. CBS News correspondent Natalie Brand has more on the ramifications of the change from Capitol Hill.
The administration is asking state and local governments to take faster action to speed up distribution of COVID relief money that could help. Only about $3 billion of the $46 billion in rental assistance had gone out as of the end of June.
If some states and localities can get this out efficiently and effectively, there's no reason every state and locality can't.
A group of states, including Illinois, California, New Jersey, and New York, has extended protections in place for the near future.
The administration and the CDC say they do not have the authority to extend the moratorium based on a Supreme Court ruling. Only Congress can revive the eviction protections.
And with the rental eviction moratorium nationwide having expired, researchers at UCLA are expecting to see negative effects shortly, especially in urban areas and among minority populations. That is, unless there are some changes at the state and local level.
Those effects could come quite quickly. Professor of Finance Stuart Gabriel, director of UCLA's Ziman Center for Real Estate, says it could be similar to what we saw in the first months of the pandemic.
The lifting of the eviction moratoria, coupled with high levels of eviction, should result in higher levels of food insecurity, consumer spending, reduced spending on food, and of course, higher levels of mental distress.
Gabriel thinks most of this could be avoided if expedited delivery of $46 billion in already allotted federal funds to tenants and landlords happens.
Somehow this aid is not being effectively distributed by state and local government.
In short, if the states and localities move the money out faster, it's a matter of timing, not moratorium extensions, that could make the difference here. Pete Demetrio, KNX 1070 News Radio.
Washington, D.C. police officers taking his own life. Third cop to die by suicide after defending the Capitol during the riots January 6. 43 years old, Gunther Hashida, found dead in his home last Thursday. Part of the emergency response team with D.C. Metropolitan Police. 2 other officers responded to the Capitol riots by a mob of Trump supporters. Died within a month of the attack. All 3 had served for more than a decade. Officer Hashida leaves behind a wife and 3 children.
Our eye in the sky will be over closures on the 71 and 91 in Corona when we check the roads again at 4:45. Right now, it's 4:41.
Choosing a tuition-free K-12-powered online school with career prep electives can be the choice that gives your high schooler a strong foundation for the jobs of tomorrow. With career pathways in high-demand fields, students gain real-world skills that help them get ahead right out of high school. K-12-powered career prep students leave high school more than ready for their future. They're built for it. Be future-built with K-12. Learn more at k12.com/radio.
Hey, sweetie.
Dad, show me again how to fold dumplings like Grandma. My friends are coming over.
You know, it might be hard on a video call, but...
Dad?
Blackouts are coming to California, and hungry guests won't be your only problem. With the right technology, we can help end blackouts. Californians are receiving up to 1 million free smart thermostats from Ohm Connect, a free service that pays you to save energy. Register and get yours at ncablackouts.com. Terms and conditions apply.